Donald Trump announced a week ago the U.S. is going to occupy Gaza and eject the 2 million Palestinians from their land. It was met with essentially unanimous condemnation, with the exception of the Israeli far right. A week later, things are even dicier in the region. The ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is on the verge of falling apart, which would have enormous human consequences on both sides: prisoners, Palestinian prisoners, Israeli hostages, everyone in Gaza. Everyone in the region continues to say that Trump's proposal to occupy Gaza is a non-starter, at once preposterous, illegal, and very, very dangerous. But today, sitting with the King of Jordan in the Oval Office, Trump said it again in even sharper terms.
You said before that the U.S. would buy Gaza, and today you just said we're not going to buy Gaza.
We're not going to have to buy. We're going to have Gaza. We don't have to buy. There's nothing to buy. We will have Gaza.
What is that?
No reason to buy. There is nothing to buy. It's Gaza. It's a war-torn area. We're going to take it. We're going to hold it. We're going to cherish it.
And Mr. President, take it under what authority? It is sovereign territory.
Under the U.S. authority.
Right after this happened, the president of Egypt canceled very suddenly his trip to Washington, according to Arab media. Very soon after that, the King of Jordan, sitting there grimacing throughout that meeting, left Trump, and he made a series of posts basically opposing everything Trump said about Gaza, reiterating Jordan's steadfast position against the displacement of Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank, adding this is the unified Arab position. For Donald Trump to keep insisting the U.S. will take Gaza against the will of Palestinians, against international and, I think, domestic law, despite the clear opposition of Arab leaders and Palestinians themselves throughout the region, could have enormously destructive consequences. In fact, we may see them play out sooner rather than later. Aaron David Miller is a senior fellow at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Before that, he was a longtime negotiator for the U.S. in the Middle East under both Presidents Bush and Clinton, and he joins me now. Aaron, one of the things in a domestic context, you can have a president, particularly Trump, he just says things and it drives a news cycle and goes away. But my strong sense, and I'd like to hear what you say, is that in diplomacy, words matter a huge amount. That him saying this, reiterating it with the King of Jordan right in front of him, is going to get enormous play in Arab media and will have tangible effects on what happens next. What do you think?
I think that's right, Chris, and thanks for having me. I had 27 years in working for half a dozen administrations, Jimmy Carter to Bush 43. Rarely have I seen an idea less tethered to reality and more dangerous. In one fell swoop, the president has bound the United States to a proposal that, best of circumstances, voluntary forced transfer. The Palestinians think it's ethnic cleansing. He's validated the fantasies of the Israeli right wing. He's undermined American partners in Jordan and Egypt. And he sent a powerful signal to President Xi and Putin and authoritarians everywhere. You want territory? Just give a press conference, say you're going to take it without justification. And I guess the question I have to ask, and I'm as puzzled by it as you, what's the point of all this? It's one thing to play madman. It's another thing to use leverage to create tactics when you've got a strategy that is designed to advance American interests and promote peace and security in the region. But this, frankly, has done precisely the opposite.
There's also, there's a context here, which is there was a ceasefire deal that had phase one. There's a sort of sequential phase two that will come next. That deal is under tremendous strain. There's complicated reasons for that strain. But there's been reporting in the Israeli press that Netanyahu's never been so gung-ho about phase two. There are reasons, I think, for Hamas to be skeptical as well. And into that context, if Palestinian leadership in Gaza and Hamas are being told by the most powerful nation on earth, once you get done with these phases, we're going to come in, occupy Gaza, and force transfer 2 million people. What incentive is there to continue down this road? It seems to me tangibly dangerous to very precarious negotiations and to the lives of the hostages, among many others.
I think that's the key point here. In basically saying that by noon on Saturday, the president has now intoned that all the hostages have to be free or hell's going to break loose. He really risks escalating Mr. Netanyahu's efforts as well. And I think he's created a situation. Hamas abuses and tortures hostages. So,
bullshit.
Trump didn't take them. But Trump's words essentially
you had to get
here,
that in there.
I think, has made the lift on Saturday a lot more difficult than it might ordinarily have been. And I do think, by the way, that Netanyahu is being a tad more careful than Trump, because I think he does want the first phase, and that means Saturday. I make a prediction, and I really don't like to. I think Hamas and Netanyahu have an interest in doing phase one. And Saturday, I think, we'll probably see the release of 3 male civilians and the return of an asymmetrical number of Palestinian prisoners.
I truly hope that's the case. The other reverberation here is, again, to say it once is maybe an accident, to reiterate it with the King of Jordan, this is a real idea that he wants to pursue. I think that's clear. It also occurred to me as I watched the King there wordlessly listening, the worst counterterrorism nightmare in the universe for the Egyptian, Jordanian, and other Arab leaders' intelligence services is an American president saying this guy is about to sell out the Palestinian cause and allow America to occupy Gaza.
I mean, absolutely the case. And I mean, the subtext here is very clear. If Jordan and Egypt were forced at the price of losing American assistance to absorb large numbers of Palestinians, the message they're sending to the Arab world is Palestinian issue is resolved. Forget 2 states, forget a confederation, forget self-determination and trying to create a solution where Israel and a putative Palestinian state could live side by side. It would be on them, and that's something that neither Jordan nor Egypt can abide. For Trump, thinking with the mindset of an opportunistic real estate developer, it's a demolition site, it's a real estate deal. For Abdullah of Jordan and Sisi of Egypt, it's an existential problem. And that makes the situation, frankly, even worse. Chris, it's an idea tethered to a galaxy far, far away, rather than to the realities back up here on planet Earth. The problem is, it's not a thought experiment. It's already having a negative impact on American interests. And that's the problem. Words in this part of the world can kill, and they can damage.
Yeah, I think that's very well said from someone who worked in this area and understands. There's a reason that the text of diplomatic pronouncements get edited 40 times by 100 different people, and it's precisely for that reason. Aaron David Miller, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Chris.